but the English mandate.
See, this is why I think they will never ever escape their position because it's really they don't have a good understanding of philosophy. And so they do what I call history hypnosis, and it takes them out of the now, which is eternal. And thus, that's why it's all political communication all the time. All communication is political, and that's the subcontext to their communication activity is political speech. But they can't. Yeah.
That's why she been so disturbed by the idea of what is suggested that it's an alliance of the Slow fascists and Marxists. Because this is very that was very uh, precise about it being like a pattern of thought. Like it's not like a specific political ideology or something. No, it's like they have an intention. They make a natural alliance in terms of their like natural interests.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Let's nitpick. But what makes Islamic fascism?
Her claims are that Zionism is anti Semitism and that either you are with the Zionists or you are with the anti Zionists. So her position is never one of unity, it's always of a what is it, binomial or a binary position. And it's the same position as George Bush. Either you're with us or you're against us. Either you're with the terrorists or you're with us, the anti-terrorists.
No, but I actually subscribe to that philosophy myself. I think it's either you're with us or you're against us. And I think like if you answer the question wrong about like who Crimea belongs to, you are a Russian. So like it's not that I don't get how it works. I just think that they try to kind of mirror the same valid points to their own nonsensical, complete misunderstanding of how the world works.
Well, from like a communications perspective,
I think they're just plagiarizing from a communication perspective. It's just plagiarism. No, לא ממש. לא כמובן, אני מדבר, ואני עושה את הדברים, לא הבנתי, את רוצה לעשות את זה? תלכי לך כדאי, תגורי את זה, אבל שמיע אותי, מה... בסדר, אני צריך ללכת תגורי, אני יכול ללכת לחדר. יש את יפה, אני אתן לכם. נתו לך לישון עם ארי. הולך לישון בלילה? בטוח. למה? זה לא היה סטרי, זה ככה.
okay, I'm gonna hop out of here. Ali, God bless. I hope you have a great week. Rabono Shalom. Let's keep the hits coming. Hit them again harder, and I hope Emrose wins the award for the most highly annoying person of all time. Maybe she can win a platinum award for most extremely annoying person of all time. We will see. We shall see. I recently, just now in the past hour, one of my YouTube accounts received a community guideline strike because of something Emrose said, not because of something I said, but the actual conversation was determined to be hate speech. So if you ever talk to that stupid person again, because I know you don't like talking to stupid people, Be sure to tell her that Google YouTube believes that what she's saying is considered abusive hate speech and harassment because she was also claiming Michael Braunstein was sexually harassing her if we caught her. She tried to get everybody on everything that she could possibly get them on while accepting no personal responsibility, accountability in the slightest. She is a completely brain dead narcissist, as you said, and it has been a pleasure filming this 4-hour M. Rose special. The problem with you, sir, is you are all words.
This recording has been specifically designed for those students who are beginners in the art and science of meditation. In the first part of the tape, the purpose and benefits of meditation are explained. The benefits are immense. The second part is a practical method which the beginner should listen to and use for guidance in his daily practice. Meditation is a technique which helps one to attain the higher state of consciousness. It is a positive method which can be used for leading a creative life or becoming successful in the world, as well as obtaining tranquility within. The simple and natural process of directing the mind within enables one to lead his thoughts, emotions, and desires to the center of reality. Meditation is the art and science of living and being. When practiced systematically, the benefits are immense. Meditation calms the mind, relieves the body of muscular, nervous, and mental tension, regulates the entire metabolism and gradually brings it into balance and harmony, and helps one to fathom the unfathomable levels of life. With the aid of meditation, the aspirant experiences deeper and higher levels of life and is able to realize all creative potential. In the rush and roar of modern civilization, we often become tense and feel drained from the day's problems. Even so-called success in the world accumulates tension, and life seems to be a series of conflicting thoughts and stressful events. For this, the technique of meditation has proven beneficial to people in all walks of life. For example, the student who cannot concentrate and whose attention is easily dissipated will find this method helpful. For executive and for those who suffer insomnia, hypertension, ulcers, and other kinds of psychosomatic diseases. Meditation serves to relieve the stress. For the wife, mother, who must cope with an exhaustible series of roles and demands, meditation becomes an energizing companion by restoring inner peace, calmness, harmony, and by reorienting her toward the busy details of everyday life. Meditation provides us with an opportunity to restore the harmony between the body and the mind. A balanced mind and sense of inner peace, which is necessary in conducting the duties of daily life, is attained. We no longer need to feel the mental and physical fatigue, which is a result of disorganized and dissipated energies. It is through meditation that both energy and perspective are regained. Meditation is not something to be approached anxiously or emotionally, nor is its objective to experience unusual visions or sounds. These predetermined imaginations can bring forth The anticipated visions, which are in fact hallucinations and obstructions that interfere with the growth of the student. The purpose of meditation is not to encourage fantasies, but to release tensions from the body, nervous system, and mind. The mind has the habit of identifying itself with the external objects, which keeps the student from becoming aware of his essential nature. Meditation is a unique method which helps one to establish himself in his own essential nature, which is beyond visions, sound, and so-called psychic experiences. In meditation, peace, happiness, and bliss are experienced. Certain favorable conditions are required in the early stages of meditation. First, one should meditate in a clean, quiet, and pleasant environment. Second, it is helpful to do meditation at a fixed time each day. One can experiment for a few days until a definite time for daily practice is established. Third, it is helpful to perform preliminary exercises for cleansing the nerves and regulating the motion of the lungs. Because of various events during the waking, dreaming, and sleeping states, many people tend to breathe shallowly. Their inhalation and exhalation becomes irregular and disturb their autonomic nervous system. The exchange of gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide, becomes imbalanced, and one finds it difficult to be steady in meditation. To overcome this disturbance, one should regulate exhalation and inhalation in an even way. Regulated breath strengthens the nervous system and calms the mind. Now, I give you a practical lesson. Sit on a cushion or a wooden chair. Place your hands on the knees.
Or it might even be BB, because just like I predicted, we just saw a big chunk of liberal Zionists that were visiting no other than the Emirates. So they're going to say, there you go, we got rid of the crazy ones, now we have the normal Zionists back, we can talk to them.
Oxygen and carbon dioxide. Any posture which allows you to be comfortable and steady is a good one. Practice the same posture every day so that the posture does not become a source of distraction to you. Those sit on the floor should practice an easy cross-legged posture in the beginning. Those sitting on the chair should sit with both feet apart on the floor, placing their hands on their thighs or near their knees. In all positions, the head, neck, and trunk should be in a straight line. Make sure your spinal cord is not crooked or stretched beyond your capacity so that you feel uncomfortable. Gently close your eyes and seal your lips. Between your chest and abdomen lies the diaphragm, learn to use your diaphragm and form the habit of breathing with it so that its deep rhythmic movement becomes automatic. When you exhale, let your diaphragm push in and help the lungs expel carbon dioxide or waste gases. When you have completely exhaled, let your diaphragm help in creating another space for the fresh air. Exhale again and inhale again. Your attention should be directed towards the diaphragmatic movement. Exhale and inhale again. At least 5 to 10 times. Now, exhale, inhale, and exhale. Inhale, exhale, without any pause. Inhale, and don't retain. Exhale gently. See that you are not creating a pause. Your breath is smooth. It is not rhythmic. It is not noisy. When you have done it for some time, forget your diaphragmatic movement. Now, focus your mind on the flow of your breath. Observe that you do not create jerks or sounds through your nostrils. Your breath should be as deep as you can comfortably exhale and inhale. Watch the capacity of your lungs. Do not strain your lungs. No haste. Quietness and stillness of the body without any strain are the important factors. The more your body becomes still, the more you will find joy. Be aware that when you exhale, you are exhaling that air which is extraneous for your body. The air which you inhale is necessary for the healthy body and a sound mind. You are now mentally observing the gentle flow of your breath. If your mind runs here and there, you will find that your breath has started behaving irregularly. Remember that the breath and the mind have a close relationship. They reflect each other. Any sharp or disturbing emotional thought change the breath behavior. As you begin observing the breath, you may notice that you are creating a pause at the beginning and the end of the exhalation cycle and inhalation cycle. Do not suggest anything to your mind. Relaxation is spontaneous effect of this method. It is hard in the beginning not to allow any pause between the exhalation and inhalation. It needs practice and special effort. The doctors sometimes will find that the breath has become calm and serene. The seat of your mind is your brain, which is at the crown of your head. Now allow your mind to travel systematically downward, beginning with your forehead. This is a mental process. Your eyes are closed. Then your eyebrows, you are coming from your forehead to your eyebrows. eyelids, cheeks, and mouth. Closing your lips, exhale and inhale. Do it again. Exhale and inhale. Now, let your mind come down to your jaw. Locate the tension in the neck and throat region. Shoulders, arm, wrists, hands and fingers. Exhale as though you are expelling all your tensions. And inhale as though you are receiving vital energy from the cosmos. Your hands, wrists, arms and shoulders are now free of tensions. Your mind has again come to the throat area. Come to the chest now. Exhale and inhale. Exhale at least 4 times here. Most secretive organization. It runs on a black budget. And inhale 4 times. Most secretive. When you exhale, you are expelling all your worries and anxieties. When you inhale, you are inhaling the vital energy.
I never thought I would start a YouTube video off with.
The energy that you inhale from the cosmos is fulfilling you. You are filling the depths of your lungs with it. Come down to your abdomen.
Archer Avenue, by Midway, the south side, where dudes are engaged in shootouts.
Come to your thighs, knees, calf muscles, ankles, feet and toes. Exhale as though your whole body is exhaling. And inhale as though your whole body is inhaling. Exhale and inhale again. Continue exhaling and inhaling as you gently lead the mind back up systematically to the crown of your head. Begin from the toes. Your toes have no tension. The ankles have no tension. Calf muscles, knees, hip joints, these all have no tension. Exhale and inhale. Now direct the mind along the vertebrae, locating the tension in the spinal column. Gently come up, releasing the tension from the vertebrae until you reach the crown of your head. Again, you are paying attention towards the flow of your breath. Let your mind be aware of the calm and serene flow of your breath. Breath and mind are two laws of life. They interact, they react, they respond to each other. Let your mind make a gentle, conscious effort to guide your breath so that it remains calm, deep, and without any noise or jerks. Bring the attention back to your breath. Your breath is becoming calm and serene. It has no jerks, no sound. Slowly and gently open your eyes. Now, do not forget to repeat this process at least twice a day. That relaxation and the preliminary step toward meditation, which you are seeking, will soon be yours after about 1 month. Develop the practice. The next step is available on tape. Oh, peace, peace, peace. not tied by your thoughts. It is relaxed, yet still and alert. You are not body alone. You are breathing being. This life breath is given to you by a center. We all are living, we all are receiving the same. Why should we not love each other? When we forget Him, forget that center, we become individual. When we remember, we all become part and parcel of that center. Oh, my breath is creating problem for me. It is shadow. You should be deep. When you exhale, exhale all your toxins, problems, worries. When you inhale, inhale energy, hope, grace.
All right, we're back live. The Chicago Mayor, Kitover. We're at 2
Your
community
whole
guideline strikes, so
being is
I'm going to
inhaling.
keep content more conservative on this YouTube channel now.
Your all
No more
cells are
Clubhouse live
floating in
rooms
the
of people
air
using freedom of
actually.
speech, so we're listening
Your
to
whole
meditation.
being is floating in the space. Any thought that comes to me, I will not allow my thought to control my life. I will see that thoughts let go. I will witness, but I will never get involved with my thought patterns. All the thoughts and emotions I am witnessing, but I am not involving myself. There are different colors, different modes, different feelings, but I am different from them. Who are you? Are you thought? Are you breath? Are you body? No, no, no. I cannot explain my nature through speech, action, and mind. My nature is perennial happiness and joy. My mind again is going towards world, think with thought patterns, because you have not arranged your routine well. You have kept many things pending. You are attached to the things. Don't do it. Tell your mind that your mind is your instrument. Though it's a fine instrument, yet it is instrument. How the instrument can hurt me? Instrument is mine. I don't belong to instrument. I will try to maintain happiness, cheerfulness, and bliss all the time. There is peace within and love. Breathe deeply, exhale, and inhale. Remember the Lord of life by remembering your mantra. Gently. Do your duties. Open your eyes and start doing your duties, but do not forget your mantra. Peace, peace, peace.
play with some fake money, lose that shit, learn, hit your head, and then you be straight, you know.
This shit look dope though. The way you just look.
Yeah, it get easy, like when you.
And God specifically brought down a surah for him, and it was Wadduha, where God he
one academic, like I even take Bartham, right, who never ever makes a claim like yours. It is so bizarre. And
you know what don't make sense? You know what really don't make sense? That men don't have enough testosterone in their system to be the leaders that they want women to believe.
bullshit.
That's why
Can
the
I say
society is
something?
set up the way that it is.
This ain't even locked.
Once I get in, let me get in real quick. Hey,
I
Lock.
wanted to speak.
Bush did it, they get to do because Obama did it? Right. But
That's not what we're discussing today.
I get that, but
So I would like to narrow the discussion back down to the topic at hand, okay?
Okay, the answer to the topic at hand is that I can understand why people would be worried. But there is a bunch of jurisprudence that says the exact opposite. And unless we think Trump is some sort of a dictator and an emperor, he doesn't rule by fiat. He just doesn't.
Thank you, Marshall. I will just interject this. I've covered many court cases, bench trials, with a jury you never know for sure. Bench trials where I was certain I would know what the judge would rule, and I was surprised by the judge's ruling. I would never presuppose that I know that a case such as this or any other case that reached the Supreme Court would fall on the side that you suggested it will.
But I
personally would never presuppose that.
No, I didn't say Supreme Court, I said appellate court. And I said that because the jurisprudence on the matter is clear. It's like saying you could put in hate speech laws. Well, if the court completely reversed itself, surely you could put in hate speech laws. But they don't completely reverse themselves on the First Amendment. And I have a really, really, really hard time believing two things. Number one, that they will let the executive govern elections by fiat. Because
why do you say this is by fiat?
Hi, Ann. Welcome to the Marshall Stankin Rankin Show. Marshall Rankin Stankin, one of the most highly annoying people in the world.
The court will rule that the president has to have the right to determine how to distribute funds that have been allocated by the Congress. Because that's really what it comes down to.
I'm going to say there's going to be an argument over the Impoundment Act, and as long as he did not run afoul.
Right, but there's going to be a counter argument that the president has the right to determine how he spends money that has been allocated by the Congress.
And maybe he will be given that, but the court will also probably say that he doesn't have the right to change elections as a consequence because
But he's not changing the elections. The states are changing the elections.
He's saying unless you...
Okay, let me give you an analogy. Hold on. We're going to go on because this is taking way too much time. But let me give you an analogy of something that happened in real life.
Did you hear me justify this?
There was a time in this country that we may be at the precipice of again, when there was a gasoline shortage. And the government determined that in order to save on gasoline, the maximum speed on interstate highways should be 55 miles an hour. The problem with that is, even though that they are interstate highways, the speed limit is not determined by the federal government. The speed limit is determined by the individual states. So the federal government could not mandate by fiat, as you suggest, that states lower from 70, 80, 75, or 70, or 65, or 60 miles an hour, the maximum speed to 55. They couldn't do that. So what did the government do? They said, well, if you don't lower it to 55, we will withhold highway funds from you. And they prevailed. I think that's a perfect example of the argument that the government will make. I don't know how the court is going to rule. As a person who believes that the states have the right to set their own election laws, that's clear in the Constitution, I might rule. But I might rule, if I were a justice, that the government has a right to determine where the funds are set, and if they don't comply with the government guidelines, not regulations, I have the right to withhold that money, or the president has the right to withhold that money. I don't think it's as clear-cut as you suggest.
Okay, maybe not.
Okay, maybe not.
Alan, A-L-A-N. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Howard followed by Scott, and then by Alan, A-L-A-N.
Hey, Gary. Yeah, I'm going to be concise because I think getting into the weeds and all the technical stuff as it relates to jurisprudence misses what the bigger question is. This is not just a policy issue, but if you really think about it, this is the person who has been elected, no doubt about it, who has the responsibility, the highest office in the land. And essentially, this action can lead to us being less safe, or certain citizens in certain states being less safe. And it's not just a legal question, or, is this something that a president can do because a former president did it, and the former president before that who wore a tan suit did it. No, this is about the moral issue of, should the president even be using this as a political football? Yes, highway funds, go ahead, make a political football out of it. But when you're talking about homeland security at a time where we're been in a state of war, a war that it looks like, we're going to be taking a big L for, that's increasing the risk on everybody, every citizen, every American across the globe. And it's not making the world safer. And I just think it is actually a malicious use of power to be using this as a political football and threatening just for political gain. And that's just my view on it, Gary. So I'll land it there. Thank you.
And my only response to that is that Stephen Colbert, in my opinion, the funniest thing he ever did, the funniest bit he ever did, was the other day when he went to the opening of the Obama Library in Chicago wearing a tan suit.
Oh my God, it's so funny! A tan suit? How could you?
Mike's open.
How could you wear a tan suit? Oy vey!
No sound from Scott.
Well, Gary, wearing a tan suit, in a lot of circles is considered sacrosanct.
All right, testing. 1, 2, 3. Coming in.
Test. Live with the Scott Ken Jones podcast.
I think I am with you, Gary, that it's not as clear to me that this is illegitimate, right? That the court comes out. Marshall makes initial arguments. I think,
This ain't nothing. That's what people leave out my guy. This ain't nothing. Oh, it's something. Scott Ken Jones can't hear you. Mic check. Mic check 1. Mic check 2. Scott Kent Jones can't hear you. Can't hear you, Scott Kent Jones. Hello?
In this country, we have 50 state elections, and within those 50 state
Hello?
elections, there's a lot of diversity within the states, right? I'm sure every county. I don't know, I know that I voted in the Philly suburbs, and I voted in Philadelphia, and not always been the same voting machine and things like that. So you see, these mechanisms are different, right? So there's a diversity in how we do elections. I want to say that I don't think there is an election fraud problem, which we've talked about, probably ad nauseum.
There's no election fraud problem. It's all legit.
Statistically, just does not happen unless there's.
It happens at the petition level, Scott, not just at the ballot.
The amount of fraudulent ballots cast and stuff like that, it's just such a rarity. I will say, though, that right now we do have an election confidence problem, and I think that the president has created this. I think one side of the aisle does have a crisis of confidence in the election system. I mean, we all know that when you put misinformation, disinformation in the system out into the ether, into the culture, it's very difficult.
Oh, stop.
So I think I do think that it would be interesting to look at the Baker Carter. Remember back in
1975, when nobody was paying attention to nothing.
And the sort of contested, that came down to protecting the life of the unborn Chad in Florida and the complexities of the counting. After that, the Gore-Bush election. In 2002, Congress responded with a bunch of input from state and local election officials and experts. They responded by enacting the Help America Vote Act in 2002 to respond to some of the issues that were perceived as problematic in the 2000 election. However, by 2004, it was clear that hadn't settled all the arguments around election reform. And so there was concerns about ID, there was concerns about voting technology, absentee and mail ballots, all this stuff we still talk about today. So in response to these concerns, former President Jimmy Carter, former Secretary of State James Baker III, Republican and Democrat, agreed to co-chair a bipartisan commission housed at American University to examine this stuff and to come up with some sensible election reform propositions. So the final report was called Building Confidence in U.S. Elections and made a bunch of recommendations, including a national system to connect state and local voter registration lists so that when you're, when you leave a locality, I know when I've moved, I haven't called my local election board from where I moved.
You didn't call them?
I just re-registered.
Scott, I guess you could do that. Because you ain't got to call them, do you, Scott? So why bring it up?
Two places. They did advocate for voter ID based on universal available real ID card. I'm not a huge fan of. I don't worry about voter ID in my state. I've never had to use voter ID, but they do match signatures. But that is one thing that this commission proposed. Also, they proposed policies to improve voter access for communities, as well as innovations like voter centers and voter information lookup sites. They recommended stronger efforts to combat fraud, especially in absentee voting, and auditable paper backups for all voting technology. So you'd have a paper receipt for every ballot. Now, whether it's these or other measures, I do think, and again, I don't have a crisis. I don't have any fear that there's masses of undocumented folks voting or there's a bunch of election fraud, but But a lot of the country does, and I think on some level we have to respond to that. And something like taking seriously bipartisan recommendations like Carter and Baker suggested might be something we have to look at in order to have a sense that universal buy-in of the country that the elections are trustworthy and reliable. Again, I have no problem.
Of course you got no problem, Scott Kent Jones.
A lot of people do. So I think we have to respond to that if we're going to move forward as a country. Thank you.
Scott, if you go to vote, and I went to vote ahead of you, or I went to vote behind you, and I walked up to the election register, the election worker, and they say, "What is your name?" I say, "Scott Jones." Well, wait a minute, Scott Jones already voted. Or if I did it ahead of you, and you came up, Scott Jones. Well, Scott Jones has already voted. How am I as a how am I not going to get? How are they not going to catch that? There's a huge danger that if I vote illegitimately in your name, I'm going to get caught. Now, when it comes to, registering illegal aliens, I believe every state, because of national law, prohibits non-citizens from voting in national elections. So, if I'm not permitted by law, how am I going to be able to cast the ballot? I walk in, I'm not even registered to vote in a national election. So why are they going to hand me a ballot, paper or electronic? It doesn't matter. How am I going to do that? It's like,
if you're registered in multiple places and you're in a state that does universal mail-in balloting, they may send 2 ballots, right? Not because it's nefarious, but because you're registered in 2
Bingo! Election fraud. Marshall Rankin engages in election fraud. We got him busted. Ballot harvester.
and making sure people
Busted.
Well, I believe
Marshall Rankin's busted.
And I registered to vote in New Jersey. I was asked, I transferred my driver's license from Michigan to New Jersey. And so New Jersey notified Michigan, and Michigan removed me from the rolls.
No, that doesn't happen most of the time all over the place. There are tons of places in the United States, in fact, most places in the United States, where the updating of voter rolls is seldomly done, and the number of people who fill out change of address forms is way below the number of people that actually move. So if you're in Pennsylvania and you move to New Jersey and you never bother to fill out a change of address form, you just register in New Jersey, and both states have said universal mail-in balloting, and they're going to send the ballots to your home. Well, then you get a universal mail-in ballot and fill it in Pennsylvania, and you get a universal mail-in ballot in New Jersey.
That's a great example.
And neither of those is breaking the law.
That's a great example. That's a great example, given that neither of those states have universal mail-in ballot.
No, I mean, I know they did. My point is, if a state does have that, that can be a problem. Like when I'll go outdoors, I'll run into places with 4 families. Not because 4 families live in the home, but because they've never bothered to change their address. And because the state has never bothered to go through its rolls and make sure people live where they say they live.
Damn, Marshall Rankin is redeeming himself with this fucking little clip right here.
Well, then you run into what Scott said. You have a bunch of people
Ballot
who think
harvesters.
that the election can be messed with.
No, but in actual fact,
Marshall Rankin's spilling the beans. Marshall, don't tell him the truth.
You're talking about your situation in Texas. So you go there, and people used to live there, and the rolls have not been updated. And then
They harvest the ballots. And they submit fraudulent ballots. Marshall Rankin is engaging in election fraud. Busted. Marshall Rankin is busted.
Voting from that residence?
It means they can't be registered to vote in that.
I know, but does that mean that they are?
no way to tell that from the registration. Not unless I had Mr. Smith, Garcia, Anderson, and Gonzalez all in a room. All that you know when you look at the map is that Mr. Gonzalez, Anderson, Smith, and Garcia are all registered at this address.
Okay, so when you knock on the
They
door,
fill out their voter registration
right.
form for Texas,
right.
and they fill out that address, their unique voter identification number gets sent to that address. And so maybe they vote, maybe they don't vote. But it's like it registers multiple people living at an address. And Texas doesn't do this. Like, in order to get a mail-in ballot in Texas, you have to be over 65. You have to have a hardship if you're under 65. But in a place like California, where there are universal mail-in balloting, and California does have similar problems to Texas, you end up getting mail-in ballots for the same people at multiple places. I'm not saying that means there's voter fraud. I'm just saying, to Scott's point, that there is a worry about this, and that at some point you probably have to address the worry. I mean, that I can't think of anything more truthful than that. That's exasperating for people who look at the current system and go, well, it works just fine. But the problem is, if a good portion of your countrymen don't believe that the election is, like, if they don't believe that the electoral process is fair or honest, then you're going to have even less buy-in. And if the question doesn't get answered because they're simply factually wrong, their thoughts don't go away. When this happened with Tilden in the 1870s, the Democratic Party's thought of rigged elections didn't go away for 35 or 40 years. Right? It didn't matter that they were wrong. It didn't matter that their view of elections was just.
Gotta keep clipping Marshall Rankin. We got the inside track now on ballot election fraud. Ballot harvester. Marshall Stinkin' Rankin from Hidalgo County, Texas, is a ballot harvesting election fraudster. Busted!
To promulgate a lie. And because of that lie,
it's not a lie, we just confirmed it, Gary.
Workable election system to satisfy the concerns that he is lying about, knowing that it's a lie, given the fact that there has been no evidence to suggest that any election was stolen.
That's what we had to do in 1886.
1880.